Let me tell you about Viva la Woman.
As two Japanese artists who came to New York with completely different goals, in the mid-90s, rapper, singer Miho Hattori and multi-instrumentalist Yuka Honda found each other at a transitional point in their own respective lives in a group together called Lito Lychee, which disbanded. But following that disbandment, they decided to start making music under the moniker Cibo, which is Italian for crazy food. In 1995, they pulled together what would be their self-titled EP, which featured a great mixture of tongue-in-cheek tracks with a hip-hop backbeat and their own twist on the beautiful texturing seen in the trip-hop scene. After catching some buzz with it, they caught the attention of Warner Brothers Records, who signed them, and with producer Chad Blake, they pulled together a few tracks from their EP, along with a reflection of their live shows filled with experimental whispering and singing and more of that beautiful texturing and tongue-in-cheekness that they'd done up to this point. It's an album with a lot of charm and character that brought them relative success in their scene, and we're going to be talking about it today. That in question being their 1996 debut album, Viva la Woman.
You know, while trip-hop was kind of a really big thing in pockets of the late 90s, Miho Hattori and Yuka Honda found a really good way to pillage forth into their own divergence from the genre in this debut, Viva la Woman. Because yeah, there's soundscapes that feel very akin to what groups like Portishead and Massive Attack were doing in their time, like the dreamlike Sugar Water, which has this beautiful hook from Miho Hattori, the sort of injections of lo-fi edge like on White Pepper Ice Cream and Artichoke, the sort of soft texturing on parts of Theme as well, and the organ sounds that creep into the hip-hop groove of LePain Purdue feel like a sort of small twist on that. They also lean even heavier into some of the more hip-hop foundations seen in trip-hop in sort of a tongue-in-cheek kind of way that I think is really fun, like on Beef Jerky. The hook of that song is so buoyant and embodies a lot of what I like about Cibo. Obviously, the singles Know Your Chicken and Birthday Cake also have their elements of that, with Birthday Cake's harsh vocals cutting through the hip-hop foundation incredibly well, with Miho Hattori's rapping about making a birthday cake for her son. I'll get to the lyrics in a minute, but Know Your Chicken is something very similar. It's very laid back and fun in a hip-hop sort of way that cuts through a lot of the dreariness or gloominess or sort of grand swell scene in a lot of trip-hop in a gratifying way. You know, they even have a fun way of making sort of a trip-hop cover, and again, that sort of Cibo tongue-in-cheek way with the Candyman, the track from the Willy Wonka soundtrack that is just bizarre, but Cibo up to this point had already made other bizarre covers, so this just feels like another notch in that belt. The weirdest cover of Black Hole Sun I've ever heard. They've also got tracks like the Theme, or the song Theme, that has this sort of normal trip-hop, again, adjacent sounds that devolve into this more drawn-out, extended style of songwriting that has that same sort of weird quirkiness that Cibo seem to thrive in, because even on their more serious records like Hotel Valentine, they find ways to make their lyrical soundscapes or their lyrical presentation a little more quirky. Like I mentioned with Birthday Cake, this record has a lot of more stream of consciousness feel lyrics. They just find a way to make it a little more odd. You know, sure, there is some prophetic or seemingly profound ideas or concepts laid on tracks like LePain Purdue or the opener Apple, with how it paints sort of a weird twist on sadness. Even a track like Sugar Water, a track that seemingly feels like it has some profound depth with its beautiful soundscape, or the opening line of Velocity of Time turns her voice into sugar water. It almost seems like it's utilizing that to just create this creamy aesthetic, and the lyrics sort of take a backseat, because the imagery in a song like that, while again sounding beautiful, it feels like it makes little to no sense. But again, with Cibo, that kind of feels like the point. Sure, it starts off with I'm on a concrete way, the wind is blowing to the north-northwest, it smells like the sands of the southern island. It then jumps to when a black cat crosses my path, a woman in the moon is singing to the earth. Beautiful imagery, feels like it makes zero sense. But I mean, given this band named half the record after food,
along with having a name that literally means crazy food,
and has, again, that weird Candyman cover, it all feels like it's trying to tap into this sort of postmodern presentation, and I eat it the fuck up. You know, I like the production on this record. I like how clean it sounds. I fell in love with this quirky band when I first got into them through the Jet Set Radio soundtrack, because Birthday Cake was on there. And I feel like while I could understand people not necessarily liking the incredibly ironic feeling of a handful of this project, because again, it's weird, and it almost feels like it's weird for the sake of being weird, as someone who likes someone like Beck, to get like a smoother sort of, again, trip-hop interpretation of this hits me right here. I like Miho Hattori's flow on here. I love her voice. I think the sample-laden atmospheres on this made by Yuka Honda are incredible. I feel like the drum loops are fantastic. Bernie Worrell does organ on here from Funkadelic, and his organ stuff is really good. I know that he's probably the one on Le Pain Perdue, and I love that organ loop on there. There's a lot of sonic components of this project that just hit me in a really positive way, you know. I didn't really want to sit here and create this profound deconstruction of the lyrics on a record, but it feels like that isn't the point, like I have on some other classics, or talk about lyrical themes and all that sort of stuff like I've done with other classics, because that doesn't feel like the point.
I mean, hell, the closer Artichoke does have this really emotional feeling, or, you know, symbolic writing with artichokes and the heart, and feeling vulnerable, and, you know, deconstructing, letting someone peel away at you in a relationship. Yet after all of that sort of great writing and metaphorical stuff, it has the hidden track Jive, which is just Miho Hattori smacking her thighs a little bit in the booth. You know, it's, again, all of it feels like it's trying to balance seriousness with a little bit of comedy in the best way possible.
I like this band a lot, and I like this record mostly because I love what these two ladies have pulled together. I like the texturing, I like the dynamics across this project, and again, I like how it sort of takes the piss out of a genre that I really like. I like trip-hop. I like trip-hop a lot. You know, I talked about soul coughing and its sort of stream of conscious style. Cibo Matto feels like it falls in the same lane, but while it gets profound at points, it feels less reflective and more sort of ironic. There's a reason why I feel like this band performed on Comedy Central back in the day, because that's their whole shtick. They're just kind of they're a quirky band who makes quirky sounds.
They're just also very talented at their core, so it comes across very excellently.
And while I think they get more profound in later records, I like that this foundation has a melding of that with a sense of humor, something that I feel like is important to include in genres from time to time. That's a big reason why I talk about Katamari Damacy in the segment, because I feel like the design aspect of having fun with a game or creating something that can be fun and funny is a great balance to strike, and I feel like that balance is perfectly met on Viva La Woman, you know? And at the time it came out, it was a big deal to those that heard it. You know, it got a lot of praise.
This record got a 9.1 from Mr. Pitchfork himself back in the day, man.
And again, Birthday Cake kind of had its time in the sun in a couple of different ways. This brought the artists themselves in this project various amounts of fame as well. Miho Hattori was in the Gorillaz on the first record. She sang on 1999-2000.
Post this album's release, they also got the attention of Sean Lennon, who hung out with them for a lot of their earlier career.
Cibo Matto, I felt like, were probably that band that were one of those if you know, you know type of projects. Because again, sure, they were a little weird, they were a little quirky, but there was a lot of talent at the core here. And I feel like as time has gone on, while people do still look back upon them fondly, or they do have their fan base, they could always use some more attention. And that's why I wanted to sit here today and talk about Viva La Woman. This won't be the last time I talk about Cibo Matto this year, but I figured I'd start here. Do you like Cibo Matto? Let me know in those comments down below. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like. If you want to see more of my music, gaming, and general notary content, be sure to subscribe. Special thanks to my patrons. If you want to join their ranks to get early access to content, exclusive content, or to help out the community, it's linked in the description. I'm going to get out of here, though. I've been Viva. Thank you again so very much for watching. You guys have good days, lives, and situations, and I'll see you another day.